Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to do a story time about my miscarriage, and I'm just going to be talking about the whole process and how I found out and how it affected me, and how I am now. So as you know, I have two kids, and they are they're 9 and 10, and I had them fine. I didn't have any problems. I got pregnant, right away with their father when I was with their father. And, everything was fine. So I never had in my mind that I would, like, if I ever got pregnant again, that something would happen or I would have a miscarriage. And I don't think any woman thinks that way. But I always thought like that couldn't happen to me because I already had like two kids. And at this point, I was still young. I was a teen mom, and I think at this point when all this happened, I was like maybe 20. No, I wasn't 20. I was, let me see. I think it was 23 or 24. Yeah. And at this time, I was single. I had separated from my kid's father, and I was living with my parents. And I was seeing a person. We were just friends. And one night, you know what happened. And I didn't think anything of it. And I think maybe, I don't know if it was a month or weeks, or I don't remember the time frame, but I know my parents were on vacation in Texas. Like I said, I lived with my parents at the time, and so I was sitting down on the sofa one day, and I think the girls were like taking a nap or with their dad. I think they were with their dad. And it wasn't like I didn't feel good or anything. I don't know. I was just on my phone, and I was like, I'm going to take a pregnancy test because I just realized that I haven't got my cycle, for a while. And at that point in time, I had my cycle every time it was supposed to come. It was normal. Nothing was ever wrong. So I was like, what? Something's wrong. So I don't know if I had a pregnancy test already or I went out and bought one. But anyway, I took it and it came back positive. But you know how it's two lines? One of the lines was fainter than the other one, and I was like, okay, what does that mean? At the time, I really didn't know. Like, I had to do some research, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but I had read somewhere where if you have like a lighter line or fainter line on your pregnancy test, that it could mean that you're having a miscarriage, or you're gonna have a miscarriage. And I was like, I don't know, I was mixed emotions because, like I said, this person was just a friend, and I know, like, I should have used protection, and it happened. And at this point I was like, well, there's nothing I could do now. I'm pregnant, so I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I'm gonna have to tell him. And I did tell him, and it didn't go so well. He told me, it's not mine, I can't have kids, you got the wrong guy. And I knew I wasn't seeing anybody else. So it was just very sad that a man could, first off, it was sad that being a man, that you could go and have a friend and, sleep with them, and then if something like this happens, knowing that you didn't use protection, and then she comes out pregnant, and then you totally deny it. Like, that's, like, there's no words for that. Like, that's really bad. Like, that's not a man at all. So, I told my mom, and she's like, you know what, just leave him alone. We're here for you, don't worry about it. We'll get through it. And, so that happened, and I was just like, okay, I guess it is what it is. There's nothing I could do. I'm not going to force him to, be there as a father if he doesn't want to. So I just never talked to him again, I think. And at this point, I had my first appointment with my OBGYN, and I went by myself, and my mom was at home. I don't know where the girls were. I think they were with my mom. And at this point, like, my family knew I was pregnant. Like, my sister, like, my family in Texas knew I was pregnant. Like, everybody was like, congratulations and whatever. And I was excited. I was excited to be pregnant, and I didn't care if, like, the guy didn't want to be, like, in the baby's life or whatever. I was just excited. The girls were really excited. My nephew, who I call my brother, was super excited. Like, everybody was excited. And like I said, I lived with my mom and dad, so they were extremely excited to have, like, a newborn baby in the house. And at this point, I had went to my doctor's appointment, and I really can't remember how far along I was. Like, I just can't. But I went to the appointment, and I think since I was a little, like, not too far along, I had to do, like, a what is it called? Like, ultrasound? I'm not really sure what it's really called, but I had to do that. So I was laying there, and I was like looking at the screen, and the doctor was doing what he needed to do to measure the baby and everything. And I don't know, just for some reason I just had like this feeling like inside me that something was wrong before the doctor even told me. Like, I knew it. I don't know, I just didn't feel pregnant before I went to the appointments. Like, I didn't feel pregnant, and I was like, I always felt something was wrong. And as I was laying there, the doctor was like, I don't see a heartbeat. So I was like, I knew it. I knew something was wrong, and I was super sad, and I was like, okay, if there's not a heartbeat, then what? I mean, I was like, are you sure? And then he's like, there's no heartbeat, and the baby's not growing like the way it's supposed to, and I think you're having a miscarriage. And I didn't even know what to say. I was just like, okay. And then he was like, there's two options. We could, scrape it out. And I know that sounds like horrible, but that's what he said. Like, take it out, take whatever you have in you out, and then, you'll be all done. Or you could take a pill. I don't remember what it's called, but you could take a pill and you'll have like really heavy bleeding, and it'll come out that way, and then you'll be done with. And I was like, I think I was so much in denial. Like, I think that's the most saddest part out of the whole thing, because like, after finding out that I was pregnant, and after telling my family, and I know that was probably a crazy move to do, to to tell your family like right away, like your whole family, that you're pregnant, not knowing, that everything was fine, with the baby. But, that's what happened, and I opted for the pill, and that day that I took it, it was like horrible. Wait, let me back up a little bit, because I didn't take the pill right away. I think the doctor told me to go back like in a week or something to do the pill, because he wanted to do another ultrasound to see if everything was the same. So I went home, and I think my mom was napping, and I had told her, and I don't think she fully understood me, because after she woke up, she asked me again. She's like, so how did your doctor visit go? And I was like, well, my baby, I had a miscarriage. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry, why didn't you tell me? And my dad had got home from work, and she told him, and we told the kids, and like the girls were sad, and my nephew was like crying, even though they were like all little, but they understood that I was gonna have a baby. And it was just heartbreaking to see them upset about it. And I was pretty sad, and I was working at McDonald's at the time, and I had told some of my coworkers, and a girl that I was really good friends with, she was pregnant too. She had found out kind of the same time I did, and I was kind of like jealous, I guess, because I knew that I was gonna have a miscarriage, but I really didn't tell them. But I knew she was like pregnant, and I was like every time I would see her, I would always like be really, really sad, even though, you know, I was happy for her at the same time. But I was in super, super, super denial, and I would like touch my stomach, and I'm like, I know I'm still pregnant. You know, my baby has a heartbeat. It has to, right? And I was still like, that doctor doesn't know what he's talking about, and all this stuff. And I was like, this is not happening. You know, I have this baby, and this baby, you know, is okay. And it even got to the point where I would like make up that, you know, I wasn't feeling good and my stomach hurt, just to go to the ER so they could do an ultrasound and tell me, oh, you know, your baby has a heartbeat, your baby's fine and whatever. But that wasn't even the case, because when I went, they gave me an ultrasound and they also told me that, you know, there's no heartbeat. And I guess at that point I just had to really, you know, realize that I'm having a miscarriage, and, you know, there's really nothing that I could have done. And I always blamed myself. And I was like, if I didn't drink that iced coffee, or if I didn't drink like a frappe or whatever, you know, I probably would have still had my baby. And I don't know why I thought that way, but I just did. And so I went back to my second doctor's appointment, and of course he told me, you know, there's still no heartbeat. And then that's when he gave me the option for, you know, the pill, or to, you know, take it out. And so I got the pill, like I said, and that day that I took it, that night was horrible. It was like really horrible. I was like bleeding out bad, and like for some reason I just wanted to like go in the bathroom, and this is probably like too much information, but you know, I'm just trying to be real and you know, say like what happened. But I really wanted to go in the bathroom and like, I don't know, not pee out, but I guess bleed out my baby and like see it. But I don't even know when it came out or whatever, because it was just so much blood that, you know, I just did my business and cleaned up, and then, you know, waited until I had to go again. There's a little fly in here. And you know, that it was over with. And I still have the pregnancy test. I have it saved. And you know, it's sad, but it's been let me see, maybe 5 years. I think it's been 5 years that's happened. And you know, I would have had a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 5-year-old right now. But you know, that's not the way God planned my life to be. And I just got to be grateful that I do have two healthy, beautiful girls that God gave me. And I mean, I'm fine with that. And it's very sad, even though I don't seem too emotional. I think I already had my time to grieve and cry and, you know, be sad about it. But I just hope this video helps anybody who's going through a miscarriage, that it will be okay, even though it seems like it's not. And it will be okay. And like I said, I was in denial and always thought it was my fault that the baby died. And don't ever think like that, because everything happens for a reason. And if that's the way God intended it to be, then we just have to accept it and move on. And either if it takes you years or months or days or whatever to, you know, overcome the sadness, I mean, so be it. Like, still now that I'm remarried, for some reason, after I had that miscarriage, I really never had regular periods. It would be like once a year or once or twice a year or whatever. And it was really strange to me. And when I got married, I always, you know, I wanted to get pregnant with my husband and have a baby, because he doesn't have any children. He just has the girls, which are his stepkids. But you know, a baby that's from both of us, and it just never happened, and we're 4 years in, and I just haven't gotten pregnant, and it's weird. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, so that's my miscarriage video, or miscarriage story. Okay, sorry, I had to pause that because the girls needed something. But anyway, like I said, I hope you guys like my story time video, and hopefully this helps anybody out there going through it. And you know, just be strong and know that things happen the way they're supposed to happen, and it's not our fault that, you know, we have miscarriages, and you know, it'll be okay. So like my video, I hope you guys like it. Leave me a comment if you want to ask me any questions or anything. Like I always say, I'm here to talk to you guys. I'm here to be your friend. We could talk about anything. It doesn't have to be about miscarriages. Just if you want to have a friend to talk to, I mean, I'll give you my email, whatever it is. You know, if you're having a hard time, anything, I'm here. I'm always here. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.